right now on SAU Weekly.
Everyone is welcome here.
A call for unity.
I just walked in the office, they're like, it's gone. It's gone.
Following the closure of the university's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, House students are working hard to ensure its purpose doesn't go away. And bright minds, bold ideas.
I think that it's a really great experience to have as an undergrad.
Seniors take the spotlight to present their research at the Undergraduate Scholars Conference. Plus, try these on for size.
I thought it would be a lot worse than this.
Students step up for a cause with a powerful message behind every stride.
I'm feeling amazing.
And in sports, bringing home the banner, men's and women's golf make history at their conference championships. Plus, a battle for the paddle.
Bees, Augie.
SAU Esports faces Augustana College in their annual Battle for the River. Your latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University starts right now. Welcome to this edition of SAU Weekly, your source for the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University. I'm Evie Breitbach.
And I'm McKenna Burden.
In response to state legislation and federal guidance, St. Ambrose's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion has shut its doors, leaving students to wonder what's next. SAU Weekly's Grant Ward attended this year's Unity Walk to tell us more.
All across campus, students are working hard after the closure of the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
I had seen the copy of the Dear Colleague letter. I was showing the other workers about it, and we're like, oh, when is this going to hit us? And one day, I just walked into the office, they're like, it's gone. It's gone.
Some felt the closure was a guessing game.
I feel like it was very much rumor-based, to be honest with you. Is it closing? Is it staying open?
Others hope for the best.
I was kind of in denial, but I never thought it would actually close.
The closure came as a result of state legislation affecting the Iowa tuition grant.
President Novak did such a terrific job making sure we can stay eligible for the Iowa tuition grant that takes care of about 400 students at Ambrose.
The office's representatives have moved to other departments.
When Mr. Sadler moved over to Cosgrove's basement for his office, it was a sad day, but I think the same work is being done for good right now.
Some are still confused about why the changes in legislation occurred in the first place.
So I feel like there's nothing wrong with having places where people are allowed to feel more included. We should always have places to promote inclusivity on and off campus. So the fact that they're closing an office directly for inclusivity on campus kind of strikes me the wrong way.
As Pope Francis acknowledged, to change the world, we must be good to those who cannot repay us.
But the closure won't stop student groups from continuing their work.
We want to make sure that we're being the voice and listening to you and doing what you elected us for. Being the voice is the goal.
We're still a community. We're still going to exist no matter what happens. The biggest thing we can do right now is just tell people we're not going away.
For SAU Weekly, I'm Grant Ward.
Thanks, Grant. If you have any questions regarding changes to university policy, please contact SAU Questions at sau.edu.
On Wednesday, SAU students were able to showcase their work and research at the annual Undergraduate Scholars Conference. SAU Weekly's Emma O'Brien takes us there.
As the end of the school year draws near, this conference is all about the students and the culmination of all their hard work, featuring research in criminal justice, biology, philosophy, and much more. And in junior Adeline Smith's case, art and design.
I declared my major end of my freshman year, and I have been just growing my portfolio ever since. And this showcase is just really important to me to showcase all the hard work I put into the last few years and how graphic design you can incorporate into your everyday life.
SAU faculty helped prepare these students to showcase their work.
Undergraduate Research Conference is kind of that aspect of how they care about you. They prepare you for this conference, and they help you gain those necessary skills that when you go out and get your future degrees and whatever path that you may take, you're able to be well prepared and have some experience leading up to those experiences that you want to gain in the future.
The conference also welcomed former alumni to return to St. Ambrose and see this work.
I think that it's a really great experience to have as an undergrad, to be able to do independent research, but then also to be able to talk about it and practice getting feedback and answering questions in a format like this. us.
Steele says the experience in the classes she was able to take at SAU helped shape her into who she is today.
The diversity of classes that we were able to take here, as well as the different perspectives that we heard, and also the wonderful faculty and friends that made our St. Ambrose experience what it was. And we really felt like that was what allowed us to be successful for me as a graduate student.
For SAU Weekly, I'm Emmett O'Brien.
Thanks, Emmett. For some, the idea of putting on a pair of high heels and walking a mile might sound absurd, but on Monday, students did just that for a good cause.
Real men wear heels. I will also be running in them. I will probably be falling.
In an annual tradition, the Sexual Assault Awareness Team gives the men of SAU an opportunity to don a pair of heels and walk in solidarity for sexual assault survivors.
I fear I would never run.
So Walk a Mile is just to raise awareness for sexual assault. It basically gets men in to come wear heels and we walk, and it's just a fun way to kind of get people thinking about the topic, talking about it. It'll just be kind of like a fun, lighthearted way to honor a serious matter.
Do I look pretty? Thank you. Our wrestling coach used to make us come here and do this, like the whole team, so we'd always do it. So when I see you guys out here again, of course I'm gonna, participate again. It's just like the small things that count.
I just like the solidarity it brings, because I think sometimes guys look at it as like, oh, it's fun to dress up, and they don't realize necessarily how much work it is to make yourself pretty or beautiful and stuff like that. So I think it's a really good awareness event.
If I could come out here, put on some heels and walk around real quick just to show my support, of course I will.
We're here for you. It's a safe campus, and if anyone ever needs anything, just come to SAT. We're here for you guys.
For SAU Weekly, I'm Evie Breitbach. If you missed Walk a Mile in her shoes, check out the Title IX page on sau.edu for more sexual assault awareness events.
The St. Ambrose Creative Arts Journal, Corcus, hosted their release event featuring sneak peeks of the journal before Thursday's official release. I was there as many came together to celebrate this year's volume.
Welcome to the Corcus release event for Volume 34.
On Wednesday, Corcus held their release event in the Matson Hall of the Galvin Fine Arts Center. Contributors had the chance to showcase their writing,
One morning with a new taste,
artwork, and audio/video pieces that are in the volume.
And it's one thing to read someone's work in print, and it's another thing to hear them perform it.
Thank you.
It's one thing to see in the journal, like someone's piece, like their painting or something that they've done artistically, but to see it up close on display is another. So it's a different way of experiencing the creative work that's in the journal.
This year, the volume also consists of audio and video pieces for the first time since the journal went digital 3 years ago.
I really like the addition to Corcus to have the AV section, and I think there's a lot of talented people who make AV productions here, and I like that people are able to share this with each other and with the world.
She walked against the wind that tried to push her back.
With having the work being published, many contributors gain confidence in their creative abilities.
It's a new feeling. Makes me a little tiny bit more confident in my own writing abilities, which is not something that I had before this.
Shy blues come out to play in just the right lighting.
The Corcus staff is excited that Volume 34 is officially released.
And I'm really excited just to see everyone sharing the journal online, kind of, it's like, here's my piece, and sharing it on their socials, or just kind of celebrating it here and there. So I'm excited for the response that we're going to get from our readers and viewers.
For SAU Weekly, I'm McKenna Verdon. Volume 34 went live May 1st. You can check out this year's journal at their website, saucorcus.com.
Coming up next on SAU Weekly, as the nation mourns the death of Pope Francis, the search will soon begin for his successor.
In this week's What's the Buzz, we'll hear from University Chaplain Father Dale Mallory to discuss the legacy of Pope Francis and the next steps for the Vatican. We'll be right back.
Capture a piece of the past with Trash Can Annie, where vintage meets vibrant in every stitch. Browse our carefully curated collection of clothing and accessories ranging from the late 1800s to current styles. Dress to impress with Laura's unique style and wardrobe consultations. Find a style and make it yours with Trash Can Annie, your destination for timeless fashion.
Visit Ragged Records, one of the largest record stores in the Midwest. Browse more than 30,000 new and used records, from timeless classics to new releases, and rare finds in every aisle. New to collecting vinyl? Check out our large selection of stereo equipment to spruce up your listening experience. Find your groove at Ragged Records, located along Motor Row in Davenport, and in Rock Island next to Roz Talks.
The day after Easter, the world was shocked to learn of the passing of Pope Francis at age 88. As Vatican City and the world mourns, preparations have already begun to choose his successor.
In this week, What's the Buzz, SAU Weekly's Ross Willis sits down with University Chaplain Father Dale Mallory to discuss Pope Francis' impact in the conclave to elect a new pope.
Thanks, guys. Joining us now is Chaplain Father Dale Mallory. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me, Ross.
So, looking back, what kind of impact did Pope Francis have on the Catholic Church as pontiff?
Well, I think, when we think of what the Pope's role is, the Pope really is the face of the Catholic Church for the whole world and also for Catholics themselves. I'd say probably some of his biggest impacts were really his kind of very global understanding of the church. Obviously, the word Catholic means universal. It's the universal church. So I think his concern for trying to make sure that all parts of the Catholic Church are involved and have a voice and feel acknowledged was probably one of his biggest impacts. He had a chance to make a whole bunch of new cardinals, and one thing I personally really appreciate is that he picked cardinals from locations of the world that haven't traditionally had them, like non-Catholic countries or Africa and Asia. So kind of trying to help those segments of the church have more of a role, more of a voice, I think, amongst obviously his care and concern for the poor and for the immigrants around the world. So, there's like a whole laundry list of stuff he was impactful for, but I'd say definitely those.
So, being from Argentina, let's talk a little bit about the legacy Pope Francis left as the first pope from Latin America.
Well, I think definitely it has kind of helped, kind of like I said, with this idea of having the more universal church. Historically, a lot of the previous popes have been Italian. Obviously, Rome isn't in Italy, so that would make sense. But I think it just kind of encourages the church to see that there is leadership available from really all over the world. And again, as I said, Pope Francis himself, in choosing his cardinals during his reign, he picked cardinals from very diverse places that maybe had not previously had cardinals and had that kind of role within the church's leadership. So I think, to me, that's really his biggest impact, is trying to kind of expand the diversity of the leadership within the church.
Cool. How does the death of Pope Francis affect the dioceses across the world, including here in Davenport?
I think the biggest thing is just that, when it comes to the operations of the church, the operations of what we call the Curia, it's kind of like the Senate or the Congress of the church, the different departments. Once the Pope dies, those operations mostly shut down temporarily. So Catholics might be familiar with the canonization process of Blessed Carlo Acutis. He's an up-and-coming saint.
Okay.
Fingers crossed. His canonization was supposed to happen a few days ago, but with the Pope passing away, that couldn't happen. So some of these kinds of things in the church are temporarily on hold until we have a new pontiff. On the local level, the diocese will still operate as normal under their bishops, but obviously we are in a period of mourning for Pope Francis. So if you go to the chapel here at St. Ambrose, you'll see we have a display up with a picture of Pope Francis, a space for students and faculty to leave condolences, their prayers for him, flowers, whatever they'd like to do. So for now, we're just kind of in that period of mourning and waiting. The church is still going on, everything is still happening normally, but just kind of in that period of mourning, waiting to see what's going to happen.
Well, that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those who may not know, describe the process of conclave coming up in just a few days, and how the Vatican will go about naming a new pope.
Yes, so the conclave is basically a election that is held to select a new pope. So 180 cardinals will be brought together into the Sistine Chapel on May 7th, And then kind of from there, they will have a time to discuss with each other who they think would make a good pope. They can nominate candidates, and a candidate can be really any baptized Catholic male over the age of 18. So if you're out there, could be you, but usually it's somebody who is already himself a cardinal or a bishop. And they'll make these nominations, they'll have debates about worthiness, and then when they feel they're ready, they will have elections, they'll have votes. And in order to win, a candidate needs to have a 2/3 majority. And if there isn't a 2/3 majority, they just start from scratch and nominate again, vote again, and it just keeps going and going and going until finally someone gets 2/3 majority. That's a very condensed version of kind of how it works,
Okay.
but yeah. So I'm sure after May 7th, there'll be a lot of news stations, both inside and outside the church, trying to keep watch and see when the announcement will come that a new pope, has been selected.
Okay, that's really cool.
Should be. I'm very excited, interested to see what happens.
Yeah, me too. Well, thanks again for being here, Father Mallory. We'll be following the election process closely.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'll be following it too.
All right.
Thanks, Ross. Coming up next in sports, we recap a successful season for our men's volleyball team after welcoming many new faces to the program.
And SAU softball celebrates their seniors on their last home game of the season.
Join SAU Weekly's Emmett O'Brien as he takes you inside SAU athletics. Stay tuned.
Whether you're a competitive runner, looking to stay fit, or just looking for comfort and support, Running Wild has you covered. Locally owned for more than 3 decades, Running Wild is the Quad City's trusted source for athletic wear and accessories. No matter your experience level, we'll help you find the right fit with all the top brands for running and walking and the latest in running apparel. Open 7 days a week, just up Brady Street. Don't walk, run to Running Wild, your run specialty store.
Tune in to KALA and hear something different. Programming that celebrates the diversity of our listeners. We're advocates for the arts, showcasing your favorite music from around the world. We're storytellers, producing award-winning news and educational podcasts. We're dedicated sports fans, bringing you the latest Fighting Bee action from St. Ambrose University. We're a learning lab, mentoring the next generation of broadcasters and content creators. A part of your community for 5 decades. We're KALA Radio, 88.5 FM and 106.1 FM. Turn it on and turn it up.
St. Ambrose golf teams took to the course for the CCAC Championships this week. The men were looking to make history with their first championship title, but the women were hoping to earn their second. The women's championship was held at the Lincolnshire Golf Course. The Bees shot 119 over par, 34 shots better than the rest of the field. Individually for the women, Amaria Little claimed second place. For the men, the Bees were victorious from TPC Deer Run, shooting 103 over par as a team. The Bees dominated. Senior Dylan McInlear also won conference individually, shooting 16 over par.
Just many hours on our own, just practice, outside of practice, so I think it's the first time in history that men's and women's have made it to conference, so it's super special, and they wish us luck, we wish them luck, so yeah, it's great for the golf program here.
The women's championship will be played at Eagles Crest Golf Course in Michigan on the 13th. The men will follow suit from TPC Deer Run on the 20th. On the diamond, the SAU women's softball team hosts their last home game of the season, a senior day doubleheader against Indiana University South Bend. The Bees start the game strong, already up 3-0 and looking to add to it. Anna Einberg smashes the ball to shortstop. South Bend gets the out at second, but Becca Haag comes home to score, giving the Bees a 4-0 lead. In the second inning, Kylie Claypool with a single to right field, sending Taylor Martin home to score, but Maddie Reed is tagged out at the plate to end the inning. Bees up 5-0. Later on, Taylor Martin feeling the pressure with bases loaded in the bottom of the third. She sends the line drive to the gap that will clear the bases. The Bees fight off. South Bend rally to win 9-7. The Bees also won Game 2 to grab the doubleheader sweep. In what has become an exciting rivalry, the annual battle for the river occurred on Saturday between St. Ambrose University and Augustana College's eSports. SAU Weekly's Grant Ward takes us to the competition to see who brought home the coveted paddle.
In Augustana's eSports Center, rival teams St. Ambrose University and Augustana College competed for the win.
I expect to see the paddle or the oar, whatever you want to call it, back in our room today.
Overwatch, Rocket League, Valorant, Smash Bros, and Marvel Rivals were all featured.
So I think it was really fun to have everyone here as a team.
SAU won, SAU's first pick.
Some matches were neck and neck.
We were filling out the grooves on the first map, but then once we started to feel comfortable, map 2 and 3, we were just kind of in a flow state.
We made it really close. We got to a match 3, last game, last players situation.
Instead, opts to go back to the ledge, is going to catch
him.
Double
Just hits him at it, yeah.
While others were an absolute sweep.
We swept. We're very happy with the result. The first game we won like 5-0. The next one we won 4-3, and the last one we won 7-2.
You get around right side.
We've got one.
We won. It was a 3-0 sweep. It was kind of shaky the first map, but after that we kind of all just locked in.
Many were proud to see their improvement since last competing.
I think it went better than I expected for it. Like, we got really ran down in fall semester, so I'm actually really impressed with how much we've improved as a team.
I feel like we all performed very well. Some of us actually really popped off very highly a lot.
Others were glad they got to experience it for themselves.
I was just feeling a little nervous, but a lot better. I definitely put in a little bit more work. I wasn't expecting to do as well as I did, but it feels good. Yeah.
In the end, St. Ambrose University came out on top.
We won 4-1, which is awesome. Obviously, we would have loved a clean sweep, but victory is a victory no matter how you get it done.
Securing the oar for a third year in a row.
This is the oar. It says Bees, Augie, Bees, Vikings, and it's, this is going to hang up in the St. Ambrose Esports facility for another 365 days.
For SAU Weekly, I'm Grant Ward.
Thanks, Grant. If you were unable to watch the event, you can find it online at twitch.tv/AugieEsports. The SAU men's volleyball team hit the court this season with plenty of heart, but not much experience. With a roster full of first-year players and few returners, the Bees faced an uphill climb from the start, but saw much improvement. SAU Weekly's Jess Vargas has more.
The SAU men's volleyball team returned this season ready to dig up some balls, but with only a few players having any college experience on the court.
So we had almost half of the team was first years, freshmen, or we had one that had switched over from football to volleyball. And I think when you have half your team is new, there's the learning struggles, right? There's a learning curve. Them getting used to the speed, getting used to having to go to classes, having to travel, having to take time out to eat, rest, and recover, things like that. They're a little bit different than high school.
The returning players had to adapt to a younger team.
Coming in as a junior, compared to last year to this year, we really didn't have the team chemistry as we had in the past years I've been here, but this year was really different between the chemistry between our freshmen and our upperclassmen. It especially helped because the freshmen were such a big group, they're able to grow.
And growing is what the Bees did, setting their season up with minimal expectations.
I believe that since we had a big
class of freshmen on our roster this year. We didn't have many expectations of how the season should look like. It's our first time on a collegiate level of volleyball, and we just played like everything was new. We didn't expect what we should do, what we shouldn't do, so we were expecting just do the best in our capacity.
Their home opener set their pace for the season.
There's a lot of moments. You know, we're a fun team, fun group to hang out with. But, you know, if I had to pick one, it was just like that season opener for us, you know. So many fans, you know, big crowd. You know, it was crazy that night, you know. You could really feel the energy, the love from from everyone on Ambrose, you know. Everyone working together, you know, it was amazing.
The team finished with 14 wins overall this season after just 8 wins in 2024. Hopefully setting up future success.
We're going to keep building, and that's been our key word, I guess, all season is build, build, build. You know, we take time out and say, let's build on this lead, or let's build to catch up, but just building. So we've got some really good recruits coming in. We only graduate one, so we're very excited that the core is returning, and we're just going to keep adding to it. So building is what I'm looking forward to.
With SAU Weekly, I'm Jess Vargas.
Thanks, Jess. We look forward to seeing all of the returning talent back on the court next season. That will do it for Inside SAU Athletics. I'm Emmett O'Brien.
That's all we have for you on this edition of SAU Weekly. We'll be back next week with the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University.
Remember to check out the SU TV Facebook and Instagram pages for newscasts, top stories, and more. You can also find them on the Hive at suthebuzz.com.
We'll leave you with this week's campus question. As the end of the semester draws near, what class are you ready to be done with? Thanks for watching.
What class are you ready to be done with this year?
All of them, because I'm ready to go on break.
I can't wait to be done with physics too.
I'm going to probably say kinesiology because it's a lot of papers, pretty writing intensive.
It's not really a class, but it's my internship. I'm ready for that to be done and graduate.
How come?
It's just a lot of time, you know, a lot of time.
Digital media practicum, you know why.